Hello, everybody. How you doing? Here we are. We're here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Andy Colburn. Maybe go over some of the, some of the things that he's talking about in his lawsuit, and mainly want to also talk about the response from the lawyers for Netflix and Laura and Moira, um, and that sort of stuff. So it's in those responses we find out that Andy is not he's not like immune to public scrutiny. As the positions that he held, he is not immune to public scrutiny. He is in fact subject to it with the positions that he held, and the fact that there is questions around some of his activities. Well, that's part of the job that he took on. So he needs to kind of really get on board and accept that. So, yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and a few things. I mean, there's a couple things that bother me about Colburn. Number one, in this lawsuit is Colburn wants to act all lily white, like he didn't do anything. Hi, everybody. Colburn wants to act like he just didn't. There's no reason to have any suspicion about him. Like he doesn't like. It's crazy or whatever that anybody would have suspicion. No, it's ridiculous to say that. Look, he is very strange and very fishy. It's odd that he's calling in the plate numbers when he did, because there's also paperwork that shows it being impounded on the 3rd. And then he claims he wasn't looking at it. And so now recently some people have found some things that they put together, some statements by various officers, and kind of strung together a timeline of the 31st of where these officers might be. And they seem to think that Andy Colburn might have been at Zippers. Now, there's still some questions. Some people say he could have been en route to Zippers or whatever, because technically the first ones that would have been able to see him there would have been Remaker and Dietering? It was Remaker and someone else who got there at a certain time. So he literally had maybe possibly about a 40-minute window where he could have been, where nobody really knows what he was doing. Anyway, so I haven't gotten enough into that and know enough about it yet to be able to speak about it credibly, so I'm not going to. But I did look at it, and basically there's a suggestion that may be the case. But the point is that Colburn is fishy no matter what. There's no way he played twist and shout with this cabinet and the key just magically popped out. And I constantly have this guilter on my channel, commenting on my channel, Charles Darwin. Hey, Charles, what's up, buddy? Want to debate one of these days? Anyway, let's do it before August 1st, because Hangouts goes away on August 1st. If we have to do it after August 1st, we have to do it through like Skype or something, and you might have to accidentally let me know who you actually are. So at least if we can do it through Hangouts, you can do it anonymously as Charles Darwin. So something to think about. Anyway. I'm gonna go to the history. I don't know what you guys. Okay, so all right. So I'm not sure what's being talked about in the chat, but I'm gonna continue talking about. This. So, but Charles Darwin will constantly come on to the comments on my channel, on my videos, and talk about how, he pushed the binder into the back of the cabinet. That made the back of it loose or whatever. It's like, yeah, I account for that in my video. I account for the fact that the back has been separated. Yeah, it still doesn't work. So I don't know why he continuously comes on my videos saying that. I just think it's inane and asinine. Because yeah, I get it. I counted for that the back was separated from him banging the binder into the back of the cabinet. I mean, I don't know what the heck's up with Andy and furniture during an investigation. He's banging binders into the back of it hard enough to break the backing loose from the cabinet. He's picking it up and shaking it around vigorously, and then a key magically pops out from Narnia. I mean, So yeah, there's plenty of reason why Colburn is suspect. There's plenty of reason why people don't believe him and think that he's up to something. Because like I said, There's the document that shows that the RAV4 was being impounded on the 3rd. It also shows Stephen Avery being reported as a murder suspect on the 3rd. Right? How's that? How can you be doing that on the 3rd? You didn't have the car. You didn't have any cremains. You didn't have anything. Nothing. I mean, how could you be doing that? Yet there is paperwork. There is a, document that shows this. That these two things happening on the 3rd. So, you couple that with all the strange things. Biggest problem for me with this, with Andy and Michael Griesbach, is number one, Andy took a call in 1996 from Brown County Police Department because they had Gregory Allen in custody, and Gregory Allen was claiming responsibility for the Penny Bernstein thing, rape and attempted murder. Okay, so they had him, claiming that and whatever. So they were calling to let, Manitowoc know they may have accidentally gotten the wrong person, right? So, obviously, they ignore it. They laugh about it. Even you hear some accounts where that they, were maybe even just laughing about the whole thing or whatever, and they forgot about it. Now, Andy wants to say, see, this is the kind of lie that gets told that makes every other thing you say suspect. Right? Okay. Andy says that when he wrote the statement about getting that call 8 years later, it had nothing to do with Stephen Avery's release from prison. Are you kidding me? I mean, you must be kidding me, right? Because they knew Stephen was going to be getting released for a year. It took a year before they, from the point where it was proven and everything, and he was, and to the point where he actually walked out of the prison, it took about a year. So at any point during that year, Andy could have written this statement, but didn't. It's literally the day after Stephen gets released. Only at the point where Stephen actually walks out of the prison doors that this statement gets written. And he wants me to believe that it had nothing to do with Stephen getting released. That's the kind of lie right there. That if you can tell that lie when it's so obviously false, nothing you say can be trusted. So Andy Colburn can complain all about how he's never had his integrity questioned. Well, you know what? You're only causing your own integrity to be questioned, Andy, because you tell stupid lies like that. And you are, claiming that you're being picked on or whatever. No, you held a position that makes you susceptible to the public scrutiny for us to be able to analyze and criticize and talk about whether or not we think what you did was right, good, or indifferent or whatever. Right? So that's that. I hope at some point that this lawsuit dissipates like it should, and that he stops crying foul. Because the other part of it that kills me is his current lawyer is Michael Griesbach, right? Michael Griesbach is the one who failed to send the information about Andy receiving the call in 96 and then writing the statement the day after Stephen gets released. Failed to send that as part of the compiled report that they sent to the AG's office, and where eventually Peg L looked at all that and made her decision, which whitewashed everything. And guess what Michael Griesbach and Mark Rohrer didn't put in that box? They didn't put the stuff about Andy Colburn in the 1996 call. So it looks like Michael Griesbach and Mark Rohrer were protecting Andy back then for some reason. And now here we are. Michael Griesbach is Andy's lawyer. Right? So that's the other part of this that just strikes me as odd. And I just know that it can't be innocent. Colburn sat on the information, yeah. According to Colburn, he told Dietering, Teresa, and Stephen were friends. Grease bag. Yeah, I call him Greasy. His calls are too questionable. Very, I agree. I mean, it's very suspicious. Erekose was treated. Oh no, Travis! I think they were talking about something on another channel. Actually, listening. Hey, Erekose is fired up tonight. I'm liking it. I think we should take up a collection and get him a Hawaiian shirt. Oh yeah, there you go. I wanted Colburn to owe them. Why am I always late? So that's the main thing about Colburn is obviously he's bringing this lawsuit, but I don't really see where he has much ground to stand on, especially when I found out that, you know, being in the position he held, he is susceptible to public scrutiny. You know, I mean, he held a public position, and people are allowed to criticize their officials. You know, that's what makes America great. Which leads me into the next part of this video. There is some very odd things happening at the moment in the world. And I'll tell you, I've been noticing the way that people interact with each other, particularly on social media, for the last 3 years or so. And, you know, there's certain things happening on social media, and it's a little bit disturbing. One of them is that I'd only heard about happening to other people up until about 3 days ago, and it now has happened to me. I had 2 comments the other day, about 2 or 3 days ago, from people who came on to one of my videos and said, "Hey, whoa, what the heck? I used to be subscribed to your channel, and somehow I got unsubscribed." And they had to resubscribe, and they left me a comment letting me know that they had to do that. That makes me go, that's like, I don't know, that hit me for a second. I'm like, wow, that would mean YouTube had to be doing something, or Google had to be doing something, right? And so I just kind of was like, wow, that's bizarre. I mean, but I'd heard about it. I watch other videos, and stuff where this is happening to other YouTubers, and so it's a little bit of a disturbing trend. The world's tilt has changed. Maybe it has. YouTube commie censorship creatures. Truth Monster may know of some of the videos I've seen as well, but there are some groups out there, some groups of people who, are exerting their, influence and ability to talk and on platforms like Twitter and stuff and reach many people, and using that ability to influence, big decisions and stuff. But the problem is that when big decisions get made based on pressure from just social media and not something more wholesome and, or just more well-rounded and just more than just on 1 or 2 platforms, like something that is very encompassing. But the problem is that a great deal of people in the world right now just don't do Twitter. Maybe they do Facebook, but they don't do Twitter or whatever. But there's a lot of people that don't do the social media thing. They don't do Instagram. They don't do all that stuff. They don't, they may watch YouTube sometimes because they're looking for a how-to video on something. But other than that, don't really use their YouTube that much. That's the kind of situation where there's a lot of people. So the people who aren't on social media end up getting subject to the will of people that are on social media, and that's why I say when, big decisions get made by what a minority of people may be saying on Twitter or something is a potential problem. But the main problem that I have is the way that certain groups want to shut other people down completely. There's groups that seek to completely silence certain points of view, certain people, and that sort of stuff. And that's something that Travis and I are going to be going into with the video I'll be uploading tomorrow. Actually, I may upload it tonight, but it'll premiere tomorrow. I'm going to premiere it at 12 p.m., basically noon Pacific time. So that should translate to 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm trying to get this video in between. A lot of folks out there go to church. So what I'm looking to do is have this video fit in between their morning and evening services. So that's why I'm going at that time. I have a lot of, I feel very strongly about the fact that we are able to get on these platforms and we are able to say our piece and we are able to influence others or talk with others and connect up with others and create communities where we can, point out certain injustices and that sort of stuff. It's great that we're able to do this. But main part of what I want to talk about with Travis and stuff is the fact that we have the right to criticize and the fact that we have the right to exercise free speech, but with the little twist of the fact that there's also a responsibility that goes along with it. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So I hope you guys will all tune in for that, because I think it's going to be interesting. I hope you guys will find it interesting. So TCM for sure. TCM, Turner Classic Movies, yeah. Platforms are publishers, big media, can't be both. Right now they are. Talk trash and be demonetized. And there's a lot of that going on as well, Joseph. I'm going to probably talk about this tomorrow a bit more, but there is actually now a couple people out there that are pretty popular. But they're getting a lot of flack from YouTube, and they're actually going to start a new platform where creators can go when they are getting shut down on YouTube, where creators can go to have their videos air and without them being penalized because the subject matter isn't agreeable to YouTube. So it's interesting. So that's another thing that's happening. I'll talk a little bit about that more tomorrow as well. But that's something that's happening. It's an interesting issue, and we all need to focus on, it's important that we're all out here and we're showing our support in numbers, and that we're creating dialogue and we're pointing out the facts of why we have issues here and those sort of things. Those sort of things are great. Where we can go too far sometimes is when we take it too far and we step beyond. And there's some people out there that will sometimes make threats. They're angry or whatever, so they'll make threats against certain folks and this and that, or their families and whatever, and certain other things. that's where for me the responsibility about, you know, the right of free speech is a marvelous thing. It is, but there's a responsibility that goes along with it, and I think there's a lot of people out there right now who are forgetting that responsibility, and that's troublesome. I wish I had gotten sold with someone during the rally to get an Avery Road shirt. Oh, but it will be yesterday, right? No. Yeah, they're ahead of us over there in Australia, Trav. Yeah. So, for those of you that are interested, that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Um, it's something that I've been becoming pretty passionate about. Uh, it's, you know, I've been, when I'm not like researching or working on a video or working, I'm often watching YouTube videos about this topic of free speech and the censoring, you know, the things going on in terms of censoring and that sort of stuff. It's, you know, there's a disturbing trend out there right now, and I think that a lot of people are beginning to become educated, and they're beginning to see the the the, the reason why it's important. It's important to conduct yourself responsibly in this world. I think these things are beginning to become apparent. Anyway, that's what I want to focus on tomorrow with me and Travis, that you guys can expect. Um, and like I said, I want to get it in that time for you guys right there where it's in between the morning and evening sessions of church, because I know many of you are attending church on Sundays, so I wanted to do that. All right. YouTube got all content creators to post on YouTube because they offer money for content. They created a monopoly and now take away the money impulsively. Not, yeah, that's what it looks like they do. It's basically Joseph, and I mean, I'm fine and whatever. I mean, my real issue with it is that when they demonetize me, that means they can no longer slap an ad on my video, and therefore they're not inclined to suggest it to other people. And that's the thing I really want more than anything else. So I know that when they shoot it down like that they're not going to be motivated to share it with anybody, so it's going to get less views. You know, monetized or not, it's not, less people are going to see it. And I went to the trouble of putting the dang thing together, so I'm hoping most people as possible will get to see it, right? So yeah, I agree. They have become willy-nilly, and that's why I said there's a couple of people now that are going to be starting a new platform to basically create a situation where those people who become unpopular on one platform can then possibly go to the other platform where their point of view won't be censored or it won't be hampered. There you go. Yes, the dog was barking. The dog is belongs to someone else, and the dog has some problems where he barks all the time, and it's really annoying. Must not have seen my post in FB about going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time with Jinx. Well, let's see. I have seen it, but I didn't see what time it was, and all I saw was, and I don't remember what time it was when I saw it. It just said in 24 hours, but now as I recall, okay, fine, it was. Anyway. Cafeteria Catholic. I take what I want and leave the rest. I also believe I don't have to go to a special place, and I've got. Well, that's fine. I'm not saying you need to do that, Ziggy. I'm just saying I know a lot of people do. That's all. Sorry, I misunderstood with the dog first bird than a cat. No, it's fine. No, the dog's just, yeah. He's you know, I don't know. He's lovable, but he's just annoying, and you know, gets to barking at just stupid things. It's like, you know, it's almost like I make this joke, but you know, it's almost like he would bark at paint drying. He's just, you know, a little bit. Seems as Google and Analytics and YouTube help and Yelp have become the new dictators of free speech. Well, and there does seem to be something like that happening, where there's a a collection of these social media platforms. I mean, even Twitter's coming under fire. I don't know if you guys have, but you should look up Lindsay Shepherd. If you haven't, look it up. Okay, it's very interesting. This girl was railroaded um, at a college by some professors. Like, it was crazy. She, you know, whatever. Anyways, she has now recently been banned on Twitter because she was talking about the things that had happened to her at university as a graduate student when she was getting, I believe, her master's, and and she basically, you know, has been going on social media to help kind of expose some of the things that have been happening to her and some of the unreasonable things that have been being said, and all those sort of things. Like, so she's been talking about that. So she just recently got banned on Twitter. Twitter banned her. That's, you know, things like that are happening all over the place, and it's happening the way it's just very, very curious to see. And so, like I said, my right to free speech is important to me because I exercise it almost daily right here on YouTube. And so it's damn important to me, you know. It's, you know, we actually live in a place where we have the ability to speak our mind, and we don't have to fear that we're going to get locked up for it, for having an opinion, you know, or wanting to have an opinion, or to, you know, we're allowed, we can, you know, speak our mind without serious fear of retribution from the state. That's a good thing, and we're all able to be part of it. So, and we're all able, you know, to be individuals and think independently, and we're able to discuss and, you know, find out where our arguments are strong and where our arguments aren't, and where, you know, the best way to proceed lies. And that's an important part about being, you know, human beings that want to move towards, you know, more stable, you know, environment and interactions, you know. So the way things are going right now, it's getting pretty volatile. Now it's concerning to me, the way it's getting really volatile. So that was why I wanted to do this video that I'm going to be doing tomorrow with Travis. So I hope you guys will all enjoy it very much. Yeah, the dog's okay. He's actually kind of lovable too, but he's just a little bit. When Jim Rogan failed to call out Twitter's commie censorship structure. Yeah, I love Joe Rogan, by the way. He's another good one. He got 86K downvotes to 13K upvotes. People were livid when he gave Jack Dorsey a pass. Now Tim Pool is peaking. Sharia US, we are so fortunate that we have the rights to free speak, and that we should use them. Absolutely. Lindsay Shepherd crossed the line into hate speech, though. Did she go that far? I'll have to go look. I have actually seen her. I've seen her YouTube post about it. I am meaning to go watch her video about it. But I know up to this point, she's been taking a lot of crap. And yeah, it's she's been taking a lot of crap, and she didn't deserve it. And for, I mean, a long time. And then she started getting attacked by this very disturbing person. Anyways, I leave it to everybody else to go. I take Finn seriously, so I'm now gonna go check out that video as soon as I can, because I'm actually intrigued. to see if Lindsay Shepherd, the meek little Lindsay Shepherd, actually used hate speech. I'm very, very intrigued to find out as to whether or not that happened. So, political correctness, however, has gone way too far. We need to have the ability to speak. Yes, free speech is important. When did I say Twitter was government? I don't recall. I don't know. I don't know who said Twitter was government either. I'm just saying that there's social media platforms are beginning to develop agendas, and they're barring people. And I believe that when you censor somebody, you're afraid of them. The PM me and face freaks and tell me about this dog. I have worked with animals. Okay. So, like I said, I'll have to check into the most recent thing with Lindsay Shepherd, but what it comes down to originally is all she did was play a clip from a local TV show for some students, and she ended up being called into like a disciplinary hearing by 3 of the college professors there, and they started trying to act like she had done something offensive. She had offended students, and that students had written to these professors. Turns out it was all untrue. But she decided, when she was sitting there with her computer talking in this thing, she turned on her computer and started recording everything that was being said, and you just hear all the things that these professors were saying that were all untrue and everything. And she almost wasn't able to graduate and get her graduate degree and all these sort of things. I mean, it got really, really messed up for her for a while. She then eventually was able to get it, but it was crazy for a while. She was getting ostracized on campus. There were some professors that would like literally kick her out of their classrooms and stuff like that, to where it made it difficult for her to get her classes and stuff. I mean, all because she played a 2-minute clip from local television. Just so happened that clip had a gentleman by the name of Jordan Peterson in the clip. And because of that fact alone, she became public enemy number 1 on campus. So it's very interesting. Every opinion counts. Yes, I agree, as it only gives us all the opinions we can acquire and give us an opportunity to research for our own opinions, and more information, the better. Yeah, I mean, that's what I agree too, is that I like to hear it from all viewpoints and consider many different viewpoints. And in that way, I can see if one of those works better, or if after considering those, I feel more solid in my own, original point of view or opinion, right? So it's like, but I think it's important to have that, where we have other people with other ideas, and that we discuss and consider those things. I think it's important. And I am not looking to censor anybody. That's the real big deal. That's the main point that I'm getting at, really. And I think it's wrong to start censoring people at all. So. Yes, no, U.S. does not criminalize hate speech. It is constrained by the First Amendment. And that's what I'm glad that our government knows not to get too involved in compelling or restricting speech, because when you think about it, folks, the government shouldn't, because speech is a constantly evolving thing. New words come into play, they begin to catch on, they get used commonly, and then other words kind of stop getting used and fall away, kind of, to where they don't get used a whole lot. But they're still there, obviously. They're still in the dictionaries and that sort of stuff, right? But they just maybe don't get used as much. And that's the way language transforms. And the government should stay out of that. It's good that the government stays out of that. And it leaves it to us as people to decide what terms are proper and respectful, and what we, how we want to interact with each other. And the way it's better for people to work that out on their own than it is for the government to try to get involved in that. So I agree 100%. Only people in the world these days, unfortunately, are trolls. They have free speech, right? So, you guys, that's what you guys can look forward to. We're gonna go ahead and get started on that tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of shut this down here. You guys kind of know what tomorrow's video is going to be about and what we're headed. What we're going to be talking about. What the general idea of it's going to be. So hopefully you guys are interested. I mean, judging by the fact that we got 40 people in here watching, I'm hoping we will. So in order to avoid having a snafu with Linda, I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and choose 2 hours sooner. So it's going to be 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, noon Central Time, and 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Best I can do. I knew about Linda's live, but I didn't. Just didn't realize that it was at noon as well. So I'll go 2 hours earlier. That should be plenty of time for Travis and I to cover what we're going to cover, and then after that, we'll be able to. You guys can move on from my premiere onto Linda's live, where she's going to be talking with Jinxie, which I'm actually pretty excited about. So I love Jinxie, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So a couple more comments before we go. All right, here we go. Hate speech is pretty bad stuff. Agreed. Yes. The other day I used the word Oriental in regard to music. Yeah. That is not a popular word anymore. That's true. Problem is the lefties are calling the outright facts hate speech as if they were George Orwell book. Wrong thing. Well, I'll tell you what my concern is, Truth Monster, and although I will agree that it is the extreme left that kind of seems to be the most active at the moment. But I can remember a time back, not in the not too distant past, where the radicals on the right were doing some seriously stupid stuff down in Charlotte. So it's a constantly swaying pendulum, and the problem is that we need more of the people that are moderate. More, whatever side or whether they're centrist, but we need more people that are moderate to start to rein in some of this really kind of going too far behavior. It's really up to the moderates to step in my opinion. But like I said, this will all be kind of part of tomorrow's video. So, all right, guys. We'll see you guys then. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Also, be aware after my video tomorrow to head over to Linda K. Linda's listening, and head over to her channel where she's gonna have Mystic Jinxie on. Love Jinxie, so so remember to go over and check that out. Hit subscribe for Linda as well. I was on the French channel with Jerome and Paul last night. For those of you who don't know, go over to Twitter and find the link, and you can check that out. It's an actual French channel created by Jerome, and we're trying to get that thing kind of going. So if you can help out with that, please do. Go over and hit subscribe on it. So remember Paul reporting live for myself at Ali Apperson, Linda K, Crime and Coffee, and a lot of the other names over there on Paul reporting live for myself's channel that I'm sorry are escaping me at the moment. But when you go over to one of Paul's lives, you'll see a lot of those names, a lot of good YouTubers that talk about true crime and that sort of stuff. So go on over there and check that out. And it's great that we're building this big community of people who care and have an interest in this true crime and in criminal justice reform, and that we continue to learn and grow as we go, and it's awesome. So, all right, everybody, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.